Welcome to the presentation on joint venture as a strategic option. Among the various basket of strategic options, joint venture is one of the very important one because in a growing market like India, large number of opportunities are all opening up and many such opportunities can be exploited only through this option. So let us try to understand what exactly is the joint venture option. Two or more companies or organizations join together to form a new company to pursue certain business objectives. So this can be a company, it can be a government organization, it can be a private organization, it can be a domestic company, it can be an international company. Any possibilities are all, any combinations are all quite possible. There needs to be a financial participation from both of them because two companies are joining together, so there needs to be a financial understanding and there needs to be a scope of service and all that. Sometimes a company brings only technology to the new joint venture company, and the same will be valued suitably as equity participation by that company. So it need not come as a finance, even it can come in the form of technology or the expertise. Why a joint venture at all? Joint venture is basically a marriage of convenience. Individual companies are not in a position to exploit the opportunity. So that is why they want to join with somebody else. So this company joined together for one or more of the following reasons. First is, let us say, access to technology. Let us take an example of Indian Oil Tanking Limited. It's actually a joint venture between Indian Oil Corporation and Oil Tanking GmbH, a German company, who are experts in managing large tank farms. Tank farms are basically put up near the ports, basically to handle the liquid cargo, petroleum products or petroleum, any other material. So oil tanking has got a lot of expertise. So Indian Oil Corporation would like to join with them to leverage their strength. Access to raw material. Jordan India Fertilizer Company is a phosphatic fertilizer company based at Jordan. It's a joint venture between IFCO, one of the large fertilizer giant in India, and also JBMC, Jordan Phosphate Mining and Corporation Limited. This company owns and operates several phosphatic mines in Jordan. So this joint venture basically to produce phosphoric acid from rock phosphate available in Jordan, and the phosphoric acid will be exported to India for further converting into phosphatic fertilizers because India do not have any good quality rock phosphate to manufacture phosphoric acid. So we have to depend on sources like Jordan, Morocco, or Algeria and other countries to get the required raw material. Access to domestic market. Reliance and BP have formed a company called Reliance BP Mobility Limited, basically to exploit the opportunities in the oil retailing, basically petroleum, diesel, and other products retailing in this country. So Reliance would like to leverage the strength of BP, and that is why the joint venture has been formed. Access to international markets. Eicher Volvo joint venture is a very interesting joint venture because Volvo also provides technology to Eicher for a range of vehicles that is manufactured, and these vehicles are both for domestic market as well as in international markets. So this Volvo is a joint venture is trying to export particularly that LCVs, what Eicher is making to several developing and developed countries in the world. So from that way, there is a very successful joint venture. To explore the emerging global markets, Daimler and BMW, the two global giants, formed a joint venture to explore new generation services, including driverless car. So, like that, today globally, many large organizations join together to explore some emerging markets in the world. Let us see some of the popular joint venture structures. Joint venture between domestic companies. I have taken an example of Petronet LPG. This is a joint venture between Oil and Natural Gas Commission, ONGC, Indian Oil Corporation, GAIL, and Bharat Petroleum, basically to import and market LPG, LNG in this country, liquefied natural gas. Then we have a joint venture between domestic companies, a private company and a government company. Larsen and Toubro joined and along with the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited to form a company called L&T Special Steels and Heavy Forgings Limited, basically for the nuclear power plants both in India as well as in abroad. Because nuclear power plant is they are all the nuclear power people, and L&T has got expertise in all this special steels forgings, etc. So they want to explore jointly this opportunity. Then another interesting joint venture is Asahi India Glass Limited, basically to manufacture your automotive glasses and other specialty glasses. It's a joint venture between Asahi Glass, it's a Japanese company who provides the technology. ACC provides the critical raw material to manufacture these glasses. Tata Motors provides a major market for this automotive glasses, and Tata International will be exporting the products in this country. So this company is, even though it's formed in this way, it has taken different shapes as the days goes on. Then another very interesting joint venture is the Brahmos Aerospace. Brahmos name comes because two companies were jointly working on this technology. That is one in India, another is in Russia. That's why it's called Brahmaputra and Moscow put together. It's called Brahmos. It is the fastest driving missiles in the world, driving the speed of about 3 Mach and all that. And so this is basically a joint venture between Defense Research and Development Organization, an Indian organization, and also another organization based in Russia. So it's another very important and very interesting joint venture between a Indian company and a foreign company, a government company and a foreign company. That is more, to be more precise. The joint ventures can take different forms, in terms of the equity. The domestic company can hold up to 90%, and the foreign company can have 10, or domestic may reduce 74-26, or 51-49, 50-50, 49, 51, 26, 74, 10, 90. So different combinations are all possible. It all depends upon the specific organization and what exactly is the specific issue, like the controlling stake, the technology transfer, and all that. So the 51-49 is a very important structure because the domestic company will have a controlling stake, and the foreign company will be having 49%. In a 50-50 joint venture, both the partners will have equity, so it's a more of a collective management. So both will be jointly taking a decision for the joint venture company. And 49-51, that is, the domestic company will have 49% equity and foreign company will have 51%. So whenever the foreign company brings some state of art technology, or they're concerned about the technology to be protected to intellectual property and all that, they will definitely insist for a 51% equity, and if possible they may even try to go for a 74% equity and 26% to the domestic partner. So it all depends upon the particular the joint venture company's requirement, and how powerful the domestic company, how powerful the foreign company, what is the chemistry between them, what is the relationship, and all that decides the final structure. Otherwise, both the JV partners normally would like to have a controlling stake in the joint venture. That is quite obvious, because after all, you form a joint venture company, you would like to have a stake on the running of the organization. So both will like to have 51% equity. If the domestic partner is part of the large group, they will negotiate strongly for a minimum of 51% equity and may not even agree for anything lower in some cases. So it's quite possible. So companies like groups like Tata Group, Larsen and Toubro, all that, they always would like to have controlling stake in the organization. The foreign player who brings technology will insist for a minimum of 51% equity if the technology offered is state of the art, and also for intellectual property protection. So that means the technology drives, of course, technology is one aspect. Again, the foreign player also would like to have management stake control they would like to have, so they may insist for minimum 51% equity and all that. So it all finally depends upon what they finally agree to in the discussion table. Both the partners may mutually agree for a 50-50 JV. In fact, today we are seeing large number of 50-50 JVs also there. An example I given here is the Tata Starbucks Private Limited. If the going is good, the joint venture is going good, the foreign player may try to buy over the stake of the domestic player by offering attractive valuation. So many times, the foreign player will always have a temptation to take over the joint venture company because it's going, I mean, like it's a running company, by just taking over you'll be having a controlling stake. You can also grow the way you like it without the other partner, but sometimes this also may be a problem. In fact, many companies, the reason for joint venture exists is this particular reason. In fact, even if you see in the TVS Suzuki also, the Suzuki was trying to take over the TVS company and it did not work, and finally the joint venture was called off. If the going is not good, the foreign player either will quit the JV or will set up their own subsidiary if permitted by the foreign direct investment policy. In fact, if you see in the Kinetic Honda case, the JV was not doing quite well, so Honda decided to quit and they decided to come out of the JV itself. So, what are the critical success factors for the joint venture? Both the partners should bring expertise to the company for survival and growth. So not that every company can join with every company. A foreign company who come to countries like India, no, they always look for a domestic company who is quite stronger. They should be able to bring some expertise to the table. Otherwise you cannot, they will not join with anybody else for the sake of government policy. So both the partners should bring some expertise. Then only the joint venture also will be quite strong and tougher because both are contributing to the success of the JV. It's like a marriage and family. Both husband and wife should have some specific role to play. Then only the family also will be quite stronger and growing faster. There must be trust and understanding between JV partners. It's very, very important. Unless the trust and understanding is there, the JV cannot continue for a longer period. This is also one of the reasons why many joint ventures have been called off. In fact, after the liberalization, more than about 8,000 joint venture companies formed in this country. But within about a year or two, large number of joint ventures have been called off because this particular aspect. There must be matching culture between the companies for the joint venture to function smoothly and grow faster to achieve the objective. Because finally, the culture that decides the style of functioning. So the chemistry should match. So in that way, the culture of both the companies should actually be very mutually, it should be supporting each other. So culture also plays a very, very important role. And both partners should commit for a long-term play on mutually agreed terms. So because joint venture is going to take some time to stabilize and all that, so unless they have a long-term commitment, you may not be able to get anything out of the joint venture very powerfully. No partner should have hidden agenda while signing the joint venture agreement. This is one of the main reasons for the joint ventures to fail subsequently. Because sometimes what happens, the joint venture company, the foreign company who come here, they will try to join with a large Indian group, but with some hidden agenda. And initially it will not be known. After some time, they'll try to take over the company and all issues will come there and finally they will be called out. So better you come with a no specific hidden agenda should be there. You can always discuss it out and you can always explore opportunities in a very transparent manner. So this is also one of the very, very important factors for the joint venture to succeed. Let us see the one of the successful joint ventures in India, namely the Hero Honda. This joint venture was formed in 1984 between Hero Cycles and the Honda Motor Company of Japan, with Hero Cycles taking 75% equity and Honda taking 25% equity. So it's a very interesting joint venture. But in spite of that, the Honda is willing to give technology to this company. So that shows their understanding at the beginning itself. In 1999, Honda formed its own subsidiary, Honda Motorcycles and Scooters India Limited, to pursue scooter market in India. Because at that point of time, the government of India was also willing to give the subsidiaries and the domestic partner also willing to give no clearance certificate and all that. So Honda was able to set up its own subsidiary to pursue mainly the scooter market in India because this JV was only for the motorcycles market. So Honda thought that why not exploit the opportunity. So they formed this Indian owned subsidiary. In 2001, the joint venture has become the world's largest two-wheeler company. So it's a very great achievement. So that very clearly explains whatever the critical success factors I mentioned earlier, the trust, the understanding, no hidden agenda, all these things really helped this joint venture to become the world's largest two-wheeler company in the world. And 2011, the company renamed as Hero MotoCorp after buying out Honda's equity. So at some point of time, they decided that let us separate as friends and let us pursue our opportunities because the joint venture should not come in the way for us to pursue the opportunities. So in 2011, Hero bought out the shares that was held by Honda Motor Company and the company was renamed as Honda Motor Corp Limited. And Honda agreed to give technology till 2014. This is another very interesting point. Even though the joint venture was called off in 2011, till 2014, Honda agreed to give technology to the Indian company that is fully owned by the other partner, Indian partner. Honda sold its shares at 50% market price to Hero Group. See the gesture. So Honda could have easily valued and they could have got very good thing out of it. But Honda felt that only because the Hero Group, that brand name was able to be established in this country. So as a token of appreciation of the services, Honda decided to sell the share at 50% market price. So it's a great thing to really talk about. So this joint venture relationship continued for 26 long years. It's one of the very, very interesting case study to discuss. This explains the culture of the two companies and the culture of the Japanese company and that is potential the Indian and Japanese companies can work together and make a big success. Maybe the other example I not quoted here is about the Maruti Suzuki also. It's one of the market leader and giving all the challenges to the global automobile companies in India. So definitely, I think Indian and Japanese companies got a lot of potential to make big success stories in the joint venture. Let us because of the what are the reason for this Hero Honda joint venture to close? One is the high royalty payout to Honda Motor by Hero Honda. So obviously, as part of the technology transfer agreement, they would agreed this. So that's why the Hero Motors suggested why don't you go for R&D by the Indian company itself. But Honda was not agreeing to carry out R&D in the joint venture for new products because Honda felt that R&D is their heart of the whole thing, so they're not willing to agree to this particular option. Hero is not interested to merge their spare part business to Honda Motorcycle Scooter India Limited because Honda wanted this motor spare parts to come along with them, but Hero was not agreeing because in the longer run, no, this particular spare part business is definitely going to generate a lot of profit also. So this particular issue also one of the reasons for joint venture to close down. So Hero Honda finally resulted in Hero Motor Carbon, Honda Motorcycle and Scooter India Limited. So two very powerful companies came out of this successful joint venture. So let us again see another interesting journey of Ford Mahindra JV. So this JV was formed in 1995 between Ford Motor Company of USA and Mahindra, one of the large, diversified and also a very strong automobile player in India. A 50-50 JV was formed. Within 3 years' time, Ford increased the stake to have a controlling stake. So they have about 72% equity and Mahindra only 28% equity. So Ford was having a very long and interesting journey from 1988, and slowly the market is becoming, with the entry of more and more foreign players coming up and all that, the market is becoming quite tougher for Ford to handle. And in 2019 October, they again decided to form a joint venture. A new joint venture was formed along with that Mahindra, but this time the controlling stake is lying now with the Mahindra Group. So Mahindra is holding about 51% equity and Ford is having 49% equity. So this also explains the relationship between the two groups. So they formed a JV, they decided to pursue alone, and at some point of time again they decided to remarry again. So it's a very interesting JV again to talk about. So like that, there are many success stories in joint venture. Joint venture is one of the very interesting option and very good option. So if you're able to identify a right partner, the marriage will be a very permanent affair. So hope definitely all of you would have enjoyed this presentation and hope it is quite useful to everybody. Thanks for your patient listening.